Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. We keep saying it. This week could not be more awful. Even I could not imagine the amount of awful things he would do in 4 days. Could you?
No, but America's had it worse. Let's remember a civil war where 500,000 died, a second world war with a Holocaust and an atom bomb were all worse than the Celebrity Apprentice. America has gotten through horrible things before, and we do not let Nazis see us cry. And I want to say the special was really funny. I can't imagine what's funnier, though, than supporters of Donald Trump talking about black people and merit-based jobs. That's just a level of comedy I can't reach for. But I want to point out we are now 4 days after Donald Trump's promise to wrap up Russia's invasion of Ukraine within
Right.
24 hours. So
What happened with
we're,
that?
we're 4 days over. Well, here's the thing. Trump's plan to end the war is a lot like Trump's infrastructure deal and his health care plan. I call those three things Trump's wives because none of them are ever going to come under him. So just know
Hey,
they will not be those will
did
not be
that mean?
arriving. Those policies will not be happening. But at least we're going to be
John,
deporting bishops.
I'm-
So there's something to help MAGA.
thank you. I just was going to say, of course, Bishop Buddy reminds me of you. Mike Collins, Representative Collins.
She's the real deal. I'm just a clown. She's the real deal.
But Representative Mike Collins said the person giving this sermon should be added to the deportation list. And you said right-wing authoritarians want to deport a bishop for quoting Jesus. And if you think that's bad, you should see what the right-wing authoritarians did to Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
By the way, Mike Collins is just angry because he was named after the Apollo astronaut they wouldn't let onto the moon. So he's been angry his entire life. But this is the kind of free speech you can expect under Donald Trump and President Elon. They want to deport Americans and have the government punish clergy for what they say.
I
Just
mean,
think of other authoritarian religions, other authoritarian governments that have punished clergy for what they say.
Yeah.
It's better in German, but just imagine.
yeah. All over the socials, imagine getting into a rage because a bishop asked you to be kind to everyone in a church. I mean, and that's the other thing. If you go back and watch it or listen to it, John, it was very respectful
Right.
and just
It
asking
was
for
Matthew
mercy.
25.
Right.
It was Matthew 25 she was quoting. And that's where Jesus gives his marching orders to all Christians, individuals and nations, and he says if you don't take care of the poor, the sick, the incarcerated and the stranger, you are going to hell. It's his memo to the Heritage Foundation. And Mike Johnson calling this a radical ideology?
Oh,
Well, he's right. It is a radical ideology to guys like Pontius Pilate or blaspheming frauds like Mike Johnson. And I'm so glad that happened this week. It was the best part of the week because these MAGA Christian nationalists, you know this, they worship the baby in the manger and they worship the executed guy on the cross, but they despise everything he said in between.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson does not follow Jesus. He obeys Trump. Media, stop letting these people hide behind a Jesus they don't follow.
Such a
Ask
hypocrite.
them, where does your holy book say deport the brown people?
He-
Ask them
he
where
tw-
Jesus gives a rat's ass about borders.
Yeah.
He tweeted, Bishop Buddy hijacked the National Prayer Service to promote her radical ideology. This was an opportunity
Mercy.
to unify the country in prayer, but she used it to sow division. Even worse, she's continued her political crusade in media interviews. Shameful. I have to say, Keith Olbermann on Twitter, he said, Speaker Johnson, Jesus would kick you in the balls if you had any.
Oh,
Fake
Yeah.
Christians like you need to SDFU when someone with the guts they don't have stands up to evil, resign, flee, go watch your porn. I mean, their hypocrisy is just knows no bounds.
It's all they've got. And the media helps them. And you don't need to believe in the Bible. This is why I'm writing this book, to take away their camouflage. You have to ask them where Jesus specifically sanctions the policies they fight for. Because if these self-proclaimed Christian politicians are legislating against the Gospels, they deserve to be called out by citizens, including atheists, who've actually read the damn Gospels. They are not Christian. Their agenda rejects Jesus, and we as a culture have to take away their camouflage. Don't let them hide behind a Bible they don't believe in. Don't.
The most anticipated book ever, Separation of Church and,
Oh, stop.
Church and Hate by
is.
John Fugelsang.
It is, John.
It is.
Oh, I know. That and the next 6 Shades.
Yeah, I mean, Webster tweets, "We live in a world where Christians defend rioters and Nazi salutes, but condemn sermons about compassion and kindness." By the way, you talked about the Nazi salute. I believe you said, you said, "Oh, so now you're calling him a Nazi just because he's an apartheid authoritarian who just gave 2 Nazi salutes after platforming anti-Semites and endorsing Nazis in Germany? So much for the tolerant left." I think that was snark. Was that snark you were?
And then did you see him come around and just prove everybody right? He came around and just rattled off a whole list of Holocaust puns and Nazi puns to make fun of people for doing it. I swear to God, this guy makes me ashamed to be a billionaire racist ketamine addict. It's not cool anymore after Elon. Not cool. He is a debit to his race.
But by the way, can I just say, because my dad was, as you know, a prosecutor at Nuremberg, Spiral tweets, "Saw it written somewhere during the Nuremberg trials that the common factor among all the Nazis was a complete lack of empathy, seeing the same again in the United States." I can't tell you how many people I've read this week said, I talked to my friend in Munich, or I said, and they were all like, "We've seen this before." Yeah, Germans gave up on the truth too, and go ahead.
The first time he was elected, the morning after, I met a young Italian guy in a coffee shop who told me he left Italy because of Berlusconi. I mean, exactly right. Our European friends know what's happened. But over here, it's a virtue to not know history and to never use your passport. That's what real Americans do. But the other thing they all have in common, not just a lack of empathy, they all worship authoritarianism. Now, I've had a lot of liberal friends and conservative friends come up to me saying, how can this party that cares so much about the police just stand there and support savagely beating cops for a lie? And I'm like, it's completely consistent. Here's why. The Republican Party does not care about flesh and blood cops. Whenever a cop kills an unarmed black person, if it's a Breonna Taylor, a Philando Castile, a Tamir Rice, they don't care. They will always side with the authoritarian figure. It's very simple for them. If a black person was killed, they must have gone up against the authoritarian, and so they deserved it for some reason. They don't need to think about it. That's their religion. But when a bigger authoritarian than a cop comes along, when a Donald Trump, who's much more authoritarian, and these cops are now the ones in the authoritarian's way, these cops on the Capitol steps defending democracy, well, then these cops are expendable. The more authoritarian figure is more important, and that's why it is completely consistent for them to not care about these cops being beaten for a lie. That's the Republican Party, Steffi, and that's how they went from back the blue to F the police. It's who they've always been. They don't care about the men and the women in uniform.
And can I say just stuff that doesn't even make sense politically? It's just a wrecking ball, getting rid of, being able to cap prescription drug prices and insulin. Representative Clark, who we've had on the show, said on day one, Trump stopped all funding for the infrastructure law, a bill that Democrats and Republicans passed together to fix our roads, improve public transportation, remove lead from our water. What happened to building a safer, stronger America? I mean, I said it at the top of the show, John. No wonder our enemies have all tried so hard to help him and get him installed. You couldn't destroy America with a better plan than what he's doing from the inside, right?
Yeah, and as the prices start to go, we'll have several months, probably close to a year, where their media apparatus will be able to groom these white people, these mediocre white folks, to blame the higher prices on liberals or on Mexicans or on trans kids who want to play sports. But after a while, it's not going to work.
It's
and
everything
it's really
we've warned about.
This guy, everything. But we were, remember, we warned them about Bush and Cheney, and they hated us. When we were proven right, they hated us even more. And then Trump came along and told them the truth about Bush and Cheney, and it was a permission structure. They immediately, the monster that Fox News created, dumped Bush and found a better mad scientist.
Yeah.
So they're going to have another authoritarian to replace this one, and believe me, they will dump Donald Trump because they're just like him. There's no loyalty.
We did warn about all of this. He said it. Antifa Shaman says gas went up again today. Medicine is now more expensive. Eggs are up 37%. All of this in 3 days. Wait for the tariffs. This story I mentioned from out here in California, in the Central Valley, which, by the way, that's what he's going to come out here today and lie again, is about the smelt and water from the Central Valley. Stuff that has nothing to do with these wildfires. The citrus harvest in California's Central Valley has been virtually halted because migrant farm workers have skipped work en masse in the wake of Trump's executive orders cracking down on immigration. It's currently the peak of citrus harvest season right now. The price of eggs and coffee has also been surging in recent. If you're if you're someone that's been preparing to skip breakfast, go ahead, because orange juice,
Listen,
coffee,
and
eggs, forget it.
Yeah, everyone's sick of me saying this, but it's all a scam. If they wanted border crossings to stop, they would go after the employers who do the hiring. That would end it. These Republicans will never, ever take down the giant help wanted sign at our border. And when they arrest a whole bunch of undocumented people, but don't arrest the factory owners, you know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to make the news. The racists will feel like something's been done for them. And 2 days later, those factory owners will be working at maximum capacity with a whole nother factory full of undocumented workers.
Yep.
It's a scam to make racists feel good. They're not going to go after it because they will never want an America where our food is made by people who are paid a living wage.
Oh, hi. I just finished, I'm going to say, an 11 billion mile bike ride. And thank God I happen to have this magic potion with me, ASEA, as seen on the Stephanie Miller Show. It helps my cells communicate better so that I can heal faster from overdoing because I'm lying about my age. I also use it on my face.